Forex traders, welcome back to probitytrades YouTube channel. This is the episode where we share our chart opportunities, market insights, which we call chart insight. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you my opportunity that I'm looking at on some of these major currency pairs. If you have been following me for a while, you know I only trade major currencies, gold, silver, and indices markets. So in these videos, we are about to share technical knowledge on how I'm waiting for opportunity. And most of these currency pairs are already lining up for a better opportunity. And in fact, majorly the gold market, we might be experiencing a very big move on the gold market. So you want to make sure you watch this video to the end. Let's get started. And before we do, if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, make sure that you click the subscribe button, turn on post notification, and whenever we drop content like this, you will always get notified. So let's go to the screen. Alright, so here on the chart, guys, let's start from the very beginning. GBP USD. Now, GBP USD, for about some weeks ago, we've been trying as much as possible to buy this particular pair. I personally experienced some series of losses for the past 2 weeks. Then I looked through my chart to see what is currently happening, because one thing is that whenever you are experiencing streak of losses, it's definitely not your strategy. You might be trading against the trend unknowingly. That is what is happening. And then I evaluate and find out that this market is about to give us a sell move, a very big sell move. So on the 3-month chart, but before I start from here, I would like us to check DXY. DXY. If you are a beginner trader and you don't know what DXY is, then it means you still need to learn. This is what we have on DXY. How do we use DXY? We use DXY to measure the strength of the dollar. If DXY is trending to the upside, it tells us that dollar is gaining strength. Then you want to make sure to go and do your technical analysis on dollar related pairs on how to get an entry. So for DXY that is trending up, which signals that the dollar is trending upward, and you can see a very beautiful channel. If you understand channel trading, whenever price comes to the lower bound of the channel, we move up. Whenever we touch the upper channel, we move down. We push up, we push down. And here, what we are expecting here technically is that price should continue to fire to the upside. And the question is, if this happens, what is the fate of the major currency pair? What this simply means is that if DXY is trending to the upside, then currency that has USD as their base currency, USD against any other currency, will be trending to the upside. Then currency that has USD as the quote currency will be trending downward. And also note that this chart that you are looking at is the 3-month chart, which tells us that this is a very strong move that is happening on the higher time frame. DXY is looking very bullish. Then we expect USD based currency pair to push up, USD quote currency pair to push downward. With this, we now have a second look on our major currency pair. So starting with GBP USD, this is where the dollar is now a quote currency. What we are expecting in this market is a downtrend movement. And if you look at GBP USD for a very long time, since this top that has been established in 2007, the market has been trending downward. This is a high, a lower high, a lower high, equal high, a lower high. You would notice that on the higher time frame, the downtrend movement has been established very, very strong. We break out from this low, create a lower low, price pull back. Initially, we were looking to take a buy trade up to this point. Then maybe that is when we are going to see another major sell move. But seems it's already looking like the sell is about to continue. We are having this protected lower highs. The price is struggling to actually break above, and this here is a lower high. There's a saying that price is fractals. What that means is that whatsoever happens on the higher time frames structurally is the same thing for traders who trade on the lower time frame. So with this that we are having here, there is also a channel here. Remember what we just saw on the DXY. The channel on DXY is already sitting at the lower bound. But here the channel on the GBP USD is sitting at the higher bound, which is supporting that this is expected to move to the downside. So for this case, I'm looking to position myself for a sell opportunity on GBP USD. Let's now narrow down to lower time frame to see how we can capitalize on the sell movement. Then we move to the monthly chart to start seeing things very well. You will see that there is a short position tools, and that is because I am already on a sell trade on GBP USD. So we trend upward, price consolidated, and now looking like we are going down. Let me hide some of these things. I wouldn't want to delete them. I want to show you things. Let me hide all. Oh, no. The rectangles should be there. Okay, I think this is okay. If you look at GBP USD, price is sitting at a minor resistance level, and if we'll bring in Fibonacci from year to year, you will see that price is sitting at the last zone of the Fib. Let me try to bring this my channel. Where's my channel? Okay. So this is what we are having here, and what I want to show you is called exhaustions. You can see how price move very strong, move very strong, move very strong. This move supposed to be strong also to the upside, but we now see price relaxing at this region, telling us that the buyers are getting exhausted. And we can see candles reactions. You can see candles reactions indicating that sellers are already in this move. Also with this, I can spot a chart pattern right here. If we ignore this last part and take it from here, this is a head and shoulder pattern, indicating that sellers are already stepping into this market. Going further in this week, I'm still expecting a very strong bearish movement to come down, at least back to the base of this neckline. And if price is eventually to break through, we still have this trend line, the lower bound of the channel, to fight with. And when we totally break through, I see no reason why GBP USD should not drop further. How do I get my entry here? This is what we have on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we have price give us this push, a retracement, a push to make in contact with the resistance. Price drops down to give us a lower low. This is a lower high, and then we are expecting another impulse movement. This is what I'm expecting, another impulse movement to break below this low. And you would see how last week, this current week closed a very strong bearish engulfing. If we move down to the daily, this is how I get my entry. If we move down to the daily, we see this push, a retracement, a push, price creates a lower low, a lower high, then there is a double top here and price is currently dropping. I use one of my favorite entry techniques to enter this trade. This is where, now let me now bring those things back. Let me bring them back. Okay, so this is how I enter the trade. I spot these minor chart patterns, but before then we have this channel that is going downward to support my bearish movement. This is the third touch, the second touch, the third touch. I actually took my trade when we break out from this flag pattern. This is where I take my sell trade. Now, one important lesson you need to learn from this trade is your stop loss placement. A lot of traders would have prefer a tight stop loss. Stop loss are meant to be kept where your trade will become invalid. This is one particular thing that I teach my students. There is no award for the trader who uses a tight stop loss. No award for it. There is no flex in that. In fact, most of the time you are more vulnerable to price kicking you out. In this particular trade, where my stop loss supposed to be is above this high. A lot of traders will say, this is too large, about 80 pips, it is just too big. Don't forget, I'm a swing trader, and this might not sit well with you if you are a day trader or you are a scalper. For me, this is where my setups needs to be invalidated, and that is where I've kept the stop loss. Now let's imagine that I want to play smart and just feel like, no, instead of me, where I put my overall target is ratio 7, instead of me putting my stop loss here, why I can't just put it here for me to have a big risk to reward? This is one reason why a lot of people want to have a tight stop loss. But for me, that is not the case. I love to put my stop loss where the setup will be totally invalidated. And my stop loss is above. You can see immediately I enter the trade, price only pushed little. In fact, let me say a pip movement in profit, then the market starts reversing. Sincerely speaking, I don't even panic because I was like, my stop loss is here, and if I'm wrong, there's no problem again. Market start dropping. I was like, okay, it is time for us to sell. Another lesson I would like to share with you here is that don't add to position when you are in loss. A lot of people, when the market is going against them, they try to enter more trade so that when the market starts heading back in that direction, the trade they have added would have accumulated more profit. But trust me, those are not sustainable way to add to your trade. You should only add to your winners, not to add to your losers. Here, if I had entered another trade and I'm already seeing a little bit of profit, and look at it, market pushed back up. As it's pushed back up here, it would have been an accumulated loss. The loss will now be doubled. In fact, out of panic, I might have even closed this trade thinking it's going to hit my stop loss because we are very close. But what happened? I didn't add to my trade. I left that one position and I have my risk control. So the market reversed and we have this in alignment with NFP news that happened on Friday. That is another thing to tell you that when you are technically right, the fundamentals will only serve as a catalyst to move in your direction. Most of the times that we trade, yes, sometimes the fundamentals may not go our way, but I can tell you for free that 80% of the times the fundamentals are technically right, because what we are seeing on the chart, the fundamentals is already accounted for. So this helps this movement moving aggressively to the downside. You can see I have an alert here. This is my first level target, and when price reach here, I'm going to put my stop loss to break even. I trade my stop. This is where I currently have my stop loss. My stop loss is not sitting at this point again. My stop loss is now here. When we get here, I move it to break even. When price gets here, I'm going to take partial profit. So that is what we have on GBP USD. I only took my time to explain this very well. With other currency pair, I'm going to be very fast with it for you to actually understand why I'm taking a sell trade, and that is because of what we are currently seeing on the DXY. I believe you're already enjoying this video already. Why not hit that like button and hit subscribe even if you haven't done so. So let's move to the next currency pair, which is Euro USD. So I'm going to be having lesser explanation here. So on Euro USD, similar thing, same entry techniques. I'm ready on a sell trade. You can see this is where I have my stops. I'm going to take partial profits. Okay, no. I already break even on Euro USD. I already broke even. My stop loss is here now. My stop loss is here. So when price pushed to this low, I'm looking to take partial. As it is like this, of course, I'm expecting price to push, or maybe we can still open very strong in the coming week and price get to this point. So if we get to this point, I'll be taking partials. My stops is still kept at break even. So that is what I have on Euro USD. Let me just quickly walk you through the analysis. Let's start from the monthly chart. Similar thing. Now, one thing here is that one juicy part here is that we have, look at this. When we have how to trade a trend line breakout, when a trend line breakout like this, there are 2 points where you can actually place an entry. It is either price retest the previous low or price push to retest the outer part of the trend line, which can be supported by a Fibonacci zone. So same thing happened here as well. We break out from this point. This is the low here. Now price retested it but could not bring price all the way down. So if I try to make use of my fib, this is what we have. If I try to make use of my Fibonacci, this is what we have. You can see price is reacting at that Fibonacci zone. Let me zoom in. Price is reacting to that Fibonacci zone, and we've been having a massive sell aggression from there. And here too, we can see that head and shoulder pattern forming. In fact, here we are closer to the neckline. So that is, the neckline is also my first level target on Euro USD. So if we get here, I'm going to take partial. This is my overall target. Of course, I'm still expecting price to move very down, but this is where I'm be looking to exit fully, then wait for another sell movement. So I took my entry using the 4 hours chart. There's this flag pattern, a break and retest. When we are retesting, I love it when price flagged or when we create some wedge pattern. So I have that identified. I missed this first push. A lot of traders will have jumped on trade already, thinking that the market is already moving, but I waited for it to retrace, and this retracement also aligns with a fib. You can see we are respecting, create a double top at the 0.50, and that is where I get my entry and price just drop. So I still expect more further downside on Euro USD. Another good one that I'm currently positioning myself for is AUD USD. AUD USD, similar thing that I'm seeing across these 3 currency pairs is that they are creating the same chart pattern. If we look at this very closely, you will see that this is also creating a head and shoulder pattern. You see, when market is creating chart patterns, it is not always a picture perfect. If you understand chart patterns, it is not always a picture perfect. Just as you have seen it in that plain book, it has to be like this. When it comes to the charts, there are some ways that the market can actually create it. So if you can identify them, trust me, when you see them, you can't unsee it. So another thing that is supporting this is that we have this rising wedge, which is an exhaustion that buyers are getting tired, and we already break out here. We already break out of this neckline. So I'm expecting a retracement. I'm expecting a retracement coupled with a trend line. I'm expecting a retracement on AUD USD. So expecting price to retrace. Also that retracement, I would like it if we can flag. And then we drop all the way down. So this is what I'm expecting on AUD USD. This is going to be my first level target and overall target all the way down. This is how I'm looking to position myself for sell opportunity on AUD USD. On to the next one, NZD USD. NZD USD. What I expect on this market, price did not come to my entry zone. You don't need to chase after price. Let it come to you, and if it doesn't come, then leave it and let it go. Let me just take you from the monthly charts. On this monthly chart, we have this bigger trend line which is supporting a descending triangle. I explained this with my students. So we have price at this region. That is the point where I've been expecting a sell movement, but market just moved very, very fast. It moves very, very fast. So as at the time that I identify for a sell opportunity here, price is trading around this point here. So I'm expecting price to push back to this region. That is why you have this cycle. For price to push back to this point, and then I can just short from that point. But market says no, it's not pulling back, and then we have price just continue moving all the way down. So now NZD USD, I'm not really seeing a very good opportunity for me at the moment. Maybe when market starts moving, or maybe we can possibly have a retrace. But if we retrace here, it is not strong for a sell. Price can actually dip a bit more inside before we go down, or we have more push to the downside. Price can have more push to the downside, then create some sort of pattern, a little range, then continue. But for now, NZD USD is not looking okay. I would prefer to wait for opportunity on AUD USD. Next one, USD card. USD card, also I'm expecting a bullish movement. If we look at the hour time frame on the 3-month chart, you can see this channel. Remember, similar thing we just saw on DXY in the start of this video. Whenever we come to the lower band of this channel, price tends to rise to the upside. We are still trading at the lower band, and one thing here is that we have this resistance that hold up price for not going higher. But as we have this resistance, we also keep having higher lows. What does this mean? This is an ascending triangle pattern indicating a bullish continuation. So we are expecting this to still continue to push all the way up. This here is an ascending triangle. I'm expecting price to continue to push higher. Initially, we are looking to take sell opportunity on AUD USD card. If you watch previous videos, that is the opportunity we've been looking at. But now our bias has changed, and that is one thing we need to know as a trader. You don't want to be emotionally attached to one side. You need to look for opportunity when a particular side is not really giving you the odds. And we can see how candlestick has reacted from this zone. In fact, we've been moving very, very strong. So let me just take you sharply to the day chart. So what I'm currently waiting for is a break and retest. This break for me is still very, very small. Let's look at the weekly chart if there's any need for adjustment. No, this is still okay. So I would like for us to actually go up well, retrace, and then we look for a bullish continuation on USD card. The next one is USD CHF. USD CHF, what we're about to experience here might be a reversal because this market has been trending all the way down, but we've come in contact to a particular level and we can see that the buyers are already taking over already. We have the push retracement, we couldn't go lower and price is now moving very strong. If I take it to the day chart, we can see that we also have an inverted head and shoulder signaling that buyers are now stepping in. Inverted head and shoulder that we have just been able to break out of the neckline. You can see that on AUD, USD, GBP, Euro, NZD, we are seeing head and shoulder for a sell, and here we are seeing an inverse head and shoulder for a buy. So I'm waiting for price to retrace and then we continue moving upward. I'm expecting this market to push this far, in fact up to this point. So patiently waiting for opportunity on this. And also you can make use of your Fibonacci to get a precision entry. USD JPY, this is also trending to the upside, but trust me, where the market is currently sitting is not okay for me to enter a trade because price is sitting at a resistance. So we are also in this trend. This is how I'm looking to enter trade. I don't want this video to start getting bored. I know you are enjoying it, but at the same time I don't want it to be too long. So this is on USDJPY. I'm going to be waiting longer. In fact, maybe 2 months time I might not be taking a trade on USDJPY until I start to see that we are fully clear out this resistance. I'm bullish on USDJPY. Very bullish. Let me show you something on the monthly chart. I'm very bullish. Very bullish. You can see this channel. This channel, I'm still expecting it to go. This move is an impulsive movement that I'm expecting it to push to this resistance. So that is the reason why I'm very bullish. And inside of that bigger channel, we also have a smaller channel, which is this. So to trade that, in fact, a better point where we should have entered should have been from here, but now the market is already no. This is, we call it overbought region if you are used to RSI indicators. So I expect price to push up, retrace, and then a continuation movement. And that is all for the major currency pair. I know that you have been enjoying. Yeah, now let's move to the other market. Let's start with gold. With gold, you see, these golds, I should have been on a sell trade, but I was actually doubting the sell because I was feeling like, can gold actually drop? The drop I'm seeing is a very big drop. In fact, up to like 3,000 pips. But I was doubting that, can gold actually drop to that extent? I consider gold to be a safe haven. I'm not expecting it to drop that, that far. If I had known, I would have just followed my technical and just placed my trade. Now let's take it up on the higher time frame. If we look at things on the 3-month chart, gold has been in a very strong bullish trend, very strong, because of how people have really been putting money in gold. And one thing happened some years back, which is year 2012. Gold actually dropped heavily after it has had a very long swing, then we drop. Now here we have had a very long swing. If I take it to the monthly chart, you start going to see the drop. You can see this drop. So this drop, I'm expecting it to actually come to this point. Yeah. So I was now start doubting that, can gold actually drop this far? If gold drop like this, what will happen? Because we consider this to be a safe haven asset. But trust me, nothing is impossible in this market, and we can actually see that gold has started dropping. There are some levels that I'm looking at here. If gold should break past them, I see no reason why gold should not drop back to 3,600. So if we move down to the weekly chart, on the weekly chart, gold has started showing us that there is a bearish move. We have this top, we come down, created this top again to give us a double top. We try to push up, give us a lower high. We come here trying to strongly push up again. We have a lower high. We come here trying to push up again. We have lower high. And that is a descending triangle indicating a sell continuation movement. There are times whereby this pattern fails, but the way it looks like now, looks like the pattern is playing out. Then we break out. On my day chart, I was able to spot a downward channel, price trading above here. In fact, I saw this right from this point, but I was doubting the sell. And you can see what, if I take an action right from that point, that is about 2,600 pips drops, and in extension I'm still expecting a further drop to this point, to this. How many pips will that be? 9,800 pips. It's alright, that's already a missed trade, and we've learned from that. Only focus on your technical irrespective. So what can gold do in the weeks to come? I have this level that gold is currently reacting to. I have this level, and if we are able to break below this level very strong, in the coming week we might retrace a bit and then break. If we are able to break below this level, trust me, the next level for gold, next level target for gold is this point. First, before we come to this blue bar, is this point. This is the next level for gold. Gold to 3,900. 3,900. That is that. Let's move. The video is already getting long, and I'm also getting tired. Silver, similar thing on silver. We expect retracement, and we are still expecting a fall. I'm expecting silver to fall back to 48. We're trading at 67. I'm expecting it to fall to 58. The next one is S&P 500. Now we are back to the indices. S&P 500. Here I'm expecting market to drop down. This is a retracement for me to position myself for a long opportunity. This is a push, retracement, and we continue that upward movement. Simple stuff. Nasdaq, NAS 100, similar thing, retracement, and we continue that push to the upside. Retracement, we continue that push to the upside. Japan 225, similar thing, retracement, and we expect, you can see it. In fact, this is already sitting at my major level, so I'll be looking for, let me asterisk this, I'll be looking for a bullish movement on this. US30, this is currently sitting at the middle of nowhere, not at any key level, so I'll be looking away on US30. Then lastly, for BTC, this week that we just had dropped heavily, but if I take you to the 3-month charts, BTC is about giving us an opportunity for buys. Yes, if the buyers holds at this point the price is currently sitting, we might start to see some bullish movement. So on the monthly chart, we have this. I will not call this a channel. I will call this a flag of this impulse movement. Then we flag down. Price is likely to give us a double bottom here. Bottom 1. This might likely be our bottom 2 for price to rise to the top. So on the weekly chart, you can see how aggressive we come downward. So picking a buy entry, you have to be very, very careful. You don't want to enter too early and market just kick you out. Pay attention to how candles are going to react at this level before we take an entry. So now we can see exhaustion before we get into the zone. You can see rejection. This is one of the things that I like to look out for before I enter for a trade. So if you look at the 4 hour, and we can see that the 4 hours created a morning star, but then we push downward again, giving us some sort of double bottom. You can see double bottom, bottom 1 and bottom 2. We might actually be looking for a bullish movement on BTC. So BTC, if I go to the 1 hour, let's look at the 1 hour chart. This is likely to be giving us entry now. In fact, this already, if I'm to take a trade, this is already meeting my criteria already. And as soon as I stop this video, I'll be going to my trading platform to place a buy trade. Number one rule is that I don't like to enter from the first push. I love to wait again if price can push down, and we have that. You can see this strong pin bar, and price is still currently sitting at that region. So entry is okay here. If you are watching this video and price has not moved far, entry is okay here. Stop loss is okay at 58. Stop loss is okay at 58. Then you can have your targets. I usually go for ratio 5. So this is how I'm going to place a trade on BTC. And that is all for chart insight for the month of June. I'm going to come back on this chart maybe after 2 or 3 weeks back to come and see how the market has played out and how we can still reposition ourselves for better opportunity. If you love this video, I know you've stayed longer. Thank you for staying longer, and you enjoyed this. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'm going to see you in the next episode.